Thank you very much, Senator Hirono, for those good questions. And next up, we have Senator Blackburn. Then I have a very brief question, and then I think we're going to end things as there's a conflict with an AI meeting, but we are very focused on this issue right now. Senator Blackburn.
Thank you so much. And yes, you're right. It's a busy day. There is a lot happening. Professor Stuck, welcome. We're delighted that you are here from UT and appreciate that you would make the trip. So thank you for that. Ms. Calder, let me come to you. You know, in Tennessee, we have a lot of people that are moving there, and they're wanting to leave other areas. We even have some Minnesotans that have come to Tennessee to
especially
relocate.
In the winter.
That's exactly right. They like our weather a whole lot better. But we know that there's a need to focus on some common sense solutions, and some of us have really done that. What we have found is over 10 million families spend more than half of their income on housing, and of course this makes it very difficult for the rest of their budget. So some of us at Finance Committee have brought forward a bill, the Affordable Housing Credit Improvement Act, which would expand and strengthen the low-income housing tax credit. And that bill would increase the number of credits available to states by 50%. And it would improve that program so that it's better serving veterans, individuals in rural areas like we have in Tennessee, and victims of domestic violence. So I'd like for you to talk a minute about why it is so important to modernize that low-income tax credit.
Well, thank you for the question. I appreciate it. I certainly have written critically of the low-income housing tax credit in the past, and so I'm not familiar with all the details of this particular bill. But I do think that the low-income housing tax credit certainly needs modernizing, changing. Some of the issues that I see with the low-income housing tax credit in general right now are that, for one thing, it is more expensive than various demand-side vouchers or demand-side assistance. Most of the benefits also, at the present time, they flow to developers, is what research suggests, rather than flowing to low-income tenants, which is something that worries me because, of course, you know, we have limited resources and we need to allocate those resources accordingly to low-income tenants wherever possible, and extremely low-income tenants first and foremost. And I've also seen that because it's a production side subsidy, research finds the program contributes to greater concentrations of poverty and racial minorities, and that's kind of something that's similar among production side housing subsidies. So again, not familiar with all the details, but certainly like the idea of improving the low-income housing tax credit.
Okay, thank you.
Senator Blackburn, can I add on to that?
Yes, you may.
We support your legislation and appreciate your leadership in pushing it forward. The low-income housing tax credit program is an important tool to develop affordable housing across the country and can be further improved, as your legislation would do. And we especially appreciate the provisions in the legislation that would allow for developers to ensure that these low-income housing tax credit properties are more affordable to the people who need it the most, the lowest income people, people in rural and tribal communities, and we appreciate the additional transparency around
let me
LIHTC
stay with
data.
you. We hear a lot about Bidenomics and the inflation rate that is out there, and the fact that the home price, the average home price, median home price is up over 27%. Mortgage rates have increased twofold since 2020, and homeownership is a part of the American dream. So many people want to own their own home. And this administration seems to have some misguided policies that are making that more difficult. So as you all are doing your work, Ms. Gentle, do you see Bidenomics, the inflation rate, all of that having a negative impact?
No, I'd say the opposite, actually. The low-income renters certainly are struggling to afford their rent. now in some cases more than ever. And housing affordability for the lowest income renters has worsened recently, but it has been a long-standing systemic
Yeah.
issue in our housing
Well, my
markets.
time's running out, but I would say Gallup disagrees with you. They found 21% of Americans believe it's a good time to purchase a home, and that number is way down from what it has been. That's the lowest that has ever been recorded, and inflation is having a negative impact. I've got 2 more questions for Ms. Gentle, but I know time has run out, and I will yield my time.
Okay, and you could put those on the record.